it's Warren Dean from DataTale, and in this video I'm going to show you how I created this app from crash stats data. This is the new Fabric app. I'm going to show you step by step how you install the whole thing, create the whole thing, the tenant settings that you need. Stay tuned and you'll see it all in the video. Okay, so this is obviously Power BI service. You can see the app here. If you want to create a Fabric app, you will need a workspace, and I'm just on a trial with Fabric. So create yourself a new workspace. There is two things that you'll need to turn on. So the first one is the REST API. So semantic model. So our Fabric app is going to use the REST API to connect to a semantic model in this workspace that has the Fabric trial for me, or it could be Fabric. And the second thing that you'll need to turn on is obviously the Fabric app itself. So you will need to enable this and turn it on. It can take up to 15 minutes for it to activate, but they're the two tenant settings that you need to turn on. What we're going to do now is head over to VS Code, and I'll be using Claude. Obviously you could use Copilot. At the moment my preference is Claude, that's what I'll be using. And then I'm going to show you how to build out that Fabric app. Okay, so I'm in VS Code. I'm in the terminal. If you're not in the right directory, you can change your directory and point to a particular directory. First thing I want to do is check that I have a node running with node and the version. Now, as long as you're over v20, you are all good. And now, next step is we're going to just paste it in the chat here. We're going to create the Rayfin, the latest version. So it's a data app, and its workspace is Fabric app. So I've never used Rayfin before, so I do need to install it. And so it's essentially downloading the template. It's going to set up the project, and at some point hopefully it asks me to log in, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's creating the app. It's collecting some data, building out a whole heap of agent skills. So you've got app design, DAX. It's got Playwright. If you haven't used Playwright before, that can open up in your Google Chrome browser and test what you're building. Okay. And all right, I'll pause for a bit and I'll let it install everything. Okay, sorry I missed the sign in, but anyway, it opened up and signed in the browser, and now it's all done. It's actually giving us the next steps here, which I can just copy. So instead of this directory where I had the data before I published it into a semantic model, I'm now going into this particular directory, which, if we have a look, looks like it's in the folder. So if I bring that up, so we can see, so it did create this folder, and so there's Playwright, MCP, Rayfin, so it built everything in my file explorer here. Alright, so now we will navigate. So file, we'll go to that folder that we just created. Ad hoc Fabric Fabric app, crash data app, and select that folder. Okay. And I'm going to run Claude. Just close this one. And just a note, if you haven't used Claude before, we're going to do a plan for the Fabric app to build. So I want to move it into plan mode. This will save you a lot of tokens, and you don't just want to be in auto mode. We want to make a reasonable plan, spend more time in your plan, and then it will execute and build you something a lot better. So put it into plan mode. Thank me later. Alright, so now we're in there. I've got a prompt that Claude's already built for me. So in essence, it's going to read the agents.empty file, use the agent skill, connect to the publish semantic model, and then have a look. So there's 3 tables in there, and I want to build a plan. I want a map page, I want a header page with KPIs, things like that, trend line, severity breakdown, road user. It's a very high level. So let's throw it into plan mode, and we'll let it run as it goes and builds out the plan. And I'll pause here, and then we'll come back. So the agents are off, they're running, they're interrogating the semantic model. So you can see here it's calling up all the skills: DAX, app design, Fabric CLI, schema discovery. Let me read the visuals: app visualization, and query design skills, plus inspecting existing project stakes. So there is already a Power BI report and the semantic model. So we'll see. I'm not sure if it's going to look at the report side or just the semantic model, but let's let it run, and then I'll come back and we'll see what the plan is. Okay, so it did ask me some permissions to run some things along the way, but now we have our plan. And obviously this is a demo, but if I had more time, I'd go through the plan and look at the pages, what it's building. But you can see it's going to connect, do some tests, build out some DAX. What's it doing? Themes, cross-filtering, run dev server. Alright, so I'm in plan mode, so if I wanted to continue, I'd go 3 and keep planning, and we could go backwards and forth with it. But let's see what it does. So we'll run yes and auto accept, and now it's going to go off and run the Fabric app. So we'll pause here, and I'll come back. Just note, I do like how it, like when you write a plan, it actually gives you like the checklist, which is pretty cool. And as it's going through, it ticks off what it's doing. So it's going to connect to Fabric. I'm going to have to log in. It's going to create configs, run a test, and then there's all the other things it's doing. So you can, at a high level, see what it's doing, and it's going to tick off if you don't want to watch, step by step all the agents running. Just another thing, it keeps prompting me to do things. Yes, do this, do this. If you want to see all the permissions, that's fine, but you can put it into auto mode. And when it's in auto mode, you can just go and leave, and then obviously come back and see what it's done when it's finished. So you're not going to get held up by a particular permission. Okay, so it just asked me to sign in. If we have a look back at the test, where's the steps? That was in here somewhere. So it asked me to sign in. It logged in. It was able to see the semantic model, and so you can see here now that it can see the 3 tables in the semantic model. Obviously there's auto date tables in there, which shouldn't be, but anyway. and so now it's understanding the schema. It is going to write DAX, obviously, but the DAX is in the web app, so it's connecting to the semantic model. In the web app, it's writing DAX. So we'll have a look at that later. So it's keep heading along and it's keep building things. I did ask it to build a map, and it's actually gone off searching the internet to try to find a Victorian local government area map. I don't know if it would have been successful in that, but I already have one of those, so I've gone and dropped it in my folder and said you can use this JSON file here. So I did read it, and it's found that it had a LGA called Marybeck in the GeoJSON, and that's because it's an old one, and in the data, not in the JSON. And so it's working through these things, and as I'm watching it, I'm actually picking up issues, and I assume at some point it would realize that Moreland changed its name to Marybeck, and that's why the data says Marybeck, but my shapefile says Moreland. But you can queue messages, so essentially as you see it going down a path and you realize, okay, it's going to have issues with that, and I understand what's going on there, I can drop things in, and when it stops thinking, it will pick up your message and then continue on with its work. So you can watch it and you can help it and you can prompt it, which obviously, if you have the capacity to do that, it's a good thing to do, because that's going to save you tokens in the long run, because I don't really want this going off and searching and finding a GeoJSON file, because it found an Australian GeoJSON file, then it was going to convert it to and just keep the Victorian. There's a lot of tokens to do that when I already have that. So just a tip, you can queue it. I could say just forget about the map. I can say here I have already a map for you, or I can say come back to that map, I'll find you one. Keep going with other things. Okay, let's see what it did. So it's found 87 LJ features, so that's local government areas in my JSON. So I did supply this file, so it didn't need to go and externally download it, and there it's got the Marybeck is Moreland. So it's doing a rename. Cool. All right, so 1, 2, 3 done. We're on to step 4. Now it's going to create and validate DAX queries. So all the DAX is completed. If you want to see, obviously it's building things all within this folder. If I open queries, crashes, so you can see there's DAX files here. You can see years DAX, and double click on that, and I can see the DAX formulas that it's writing in DAX query. So obviously, DAX Studio. So I didn't write any of these, it's going and writing. If we look at crashes by severity, it up, cancel that. And so obviously it's got complete access to the semantic model in the Power BI service, and it's able to connect, understand the columns, and it's able to write the DAX there. So let's see where it's up to. Alright, so did all the DAX. It didn't take very long to do the theme, so it's updated the theme that it wanted to use. Built filter context, components, layouts, chloropeth, which is just the map, and wiring the cross filtering, spec files, so filters. Now it's running the dev server and validating via the Fabric portal embed. So the reason I was zoomed in there and it jumped out, it just opened up another Chrome page. So let's see what it's doing. Okay, so it's using Playwright. Let's have a look if that's here. Okay, so it's open another page on Chrome. We'll see if it's working, but Playwright allows it. So I've installed a plugin, a Playwright plugin in Chrome, so you'll have to do that to get this to work. But Playwright allows it to connect to Chrome, open up the app, and click stuff, and test that the clicking actually works. So it's almost like you've got a user testing, clicking on every clickable thing on the page and making sure that that click responds as it should. So that's what Playwright is doing. And it doesn't look like it's working yet, so I'll pause just to make sure that the Chrome plugin is active. Okay, not sure what happened with Playwright. I have used it before via its MCP, but it might be a little bit different with Rayfin, so I'll leave that for another video and I can debug that properly. But it has run the dev server, and you can see here that it has finished. So it's live, it's got a link. So if I jump now back into the workspace that I've created, so you can see here I have a Crash Fabric app. It's a workspace. It's on a Fabric trial. We do have a app here. So if I click on the app, and there we go. Okay, so there's the app. The map's working, the colors, local government areas, it's matching. Let's see if we can filter for just fatalities. And it doesn't look like that's cross-filtering. No, definitely not cross-filtering. Let's see if this one works up here. Just 2023 data. Also not cross-filtering. Light mode, dark mode. That's not easy to do in Power BI, but that's working. So cross-filtering doesn't appear to be working, but the app is up and running. So I think what I might do is, because it's getting pretty late, I'll save this for another video where I'll actually go and get the cross-filtering to work, try to get some more interesting, I suppose, web elements into this. But for a first run, there you go, end-to-end Fabric apps. Looks pretty cool. You can only deploy it here within Fabric, so I can't just open it up in another browser. All done still within the Power BI workspace. But no, that's pretty cool.